everyone, it's Brooke, and I am here this week with the incredible hypnotist, Richard Barker, and I was told that that's the official title, so I'm really excited about that. And today we're going to talk about being suave and being smooth and how to kind of use hypnosis techniques to really incorporate that into your lifestyle every day. So welcome, Richard. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I want to ask you a little bit about your personal journey, like why did you get into hypnosis originally, and how, and kind of, what are the big milestones along that journey?
Yeah. I'll be fairly brief because it's quite a journey, but I wasn't born being a hypnotist, contrary to popular belief. What actually happened was I was a police officer in the UK, and I was on a detective branch for serious crime. And so I'm there. Basically, my job was interviewing suspects for rape, murder, manslaughter, that kind of thing. And my boss told me that I had to go on a course for interview skills, interview cognitive skills. And most people that are a police detective, that's the last thing they want to do is go on a fluffy course where you sit around on beanbags and talk about what you should and should not do. And so I basically tried not to go on this course, and I failed, and I ended up going on this class. And it was called Cognitive Interview Skills was the official title, but what it actually was my entrance into hypnosis. They were teaching me neuro-linguistical programming, which is sort of what we're going to be talking about today. And I got my first sort of snapshot of hypnosis there. I had seen shows in college and along the way, but that's when I really got to understand the mind and hypnosis and how I can use it to my advantage, basically.
That's incredible. I've heard wonderful things about the English police, so that's really cool that you're a part of that. But,
Yes.
I mean, you've experienced so many traumatic, massive things that the typical average person doesn't experience. I imagine you have to use a lot of those techniques on yourself to kind of wind down at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's a very stressful occupation, along with some others like airline pilot and a few others. And hypnosis can teach you to sort of decompress, help yourself relax and calm yourself down. But it can also be used to help witnesses remember things, because obviously, if a crime happened years ago, they couldn't remember, so they became unreliable. So my job was to help them remember by using hypnosis. And then when it came to suspects and criminals, it was to help them speak to me, not to trip them up in any way,
Right.
but to help them reveal the truth,
Yeah.
whether they did something or didn't do something. So I was known as the human lie detector.
That's
Pretty much.
incredible. I love that. So you actually have earned the title, the incredible hypnotist, then. That's well deserved.
Well deserved. I've got skin in the game. I do about 500 shows a year now, and I have a lot of high profile clients. So I think I've earned that title somewhat.
Yeah, what does life look like now as I don't know, I want to call you a traveling hypnotist, but I don't know if that's an accurate description.
I think the correct terminology now is, because we fight with the title of what we should call ourselves, and we really do. And I just call myself a professional hypnotist because I do one-on-one consultation for weight loss, stop smoking, removing fears and phobias, helping people improve confidence. But then on the other side of the coin, I go to the universities and I do, stage shows for 500 people or more. And then I work for the cruise lines. So I do shows, I do one-on-one, I do consultation. So I kind of do it all. As long as it's got some kind of hypnosis involved and money involved, I'll do it.
So what do the shows look like? Because I'm imagining your stereotypical hypnotic show where, people are clucking like chickens and then not remembering anything.
Yeah, well, I've got a show coming up here on the weekend, and it's University of Central Florida, which I think is the second or third largest university in America. And my job's to go in there and, put on an entertaining and compelling show. So I'll get 20 volunteers up on stage, and what I like to say is I'm using their personalities, if they have one, and I'm kind of expanding it by 400-500%. So I'm getting them to do things they would never really do in normal everyday life. Is
That's
what I'm
incredible.
doing.
But just the power, from what you're saying, the power potential that lies in hypnosis to really help people change their lives, which is what we're doing here. And for those that have already started this program and are on this journey, like the feedback of how hypnosis has really impacted their life is just incredible. So I'm glad there's people out there like you who are helping people along their journeys.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about our topic today, and that is being suave. And when I think of a suave person, I think James Bond. And I know this is really cliche because you're English and we're discussing James Bond, but I think of this just really well put together, calm in every situation persona. And in reality, most of us aren't that way. Most of us are nervous or anxious, and we have all of these holdups. And I think we all kind of would love to have a little bit of that James Bond personality, but how do we even begin to relax enough to get into that mindset?
And that's really it. It is a mindset, and if you believe yourself to be something, then you'll achieve it. They say what the mind believes, the mind achieves. So if you believe yourself James Bond, you will become James Bond if that's what your mind sets up. So I'm in scenarios where I'm doing live television, for example, and I'm crapping myself, before the segment, of course, and I have to sort of do that self-talk, have that little conversation with myself just to calm myself down. And that really is hypnosis. So the persona, I mean, if you want to, it's all about like what you wear, how you wear it, what you say and how you say it, and what you do and how you act, think and feel. So, I have a saying that we don't see the world around us, we actually think it. So if you think yourself lacking in confidence, you'll lack confidence. But if you think yourself courageous, you'll be courageous. So you can actually program yourself to be pretty much anything you want to be just by having that self-talk, which really is hypnosis.
I love that. So in certain situations, I mean, I'm picturing this as almost method acting. It's like you put on the correct costume and makeup for me or whatever it is, and you get into this character. So it starts with really personal grooming, I want to say, and kind of setting yourself up correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's almost like, when you first roll out of bed and you get up, whatever that time is means to you, and everybody's different, you immediately have a thought process, right? Because we think things first and then we action it later, or sometimes we don't action it, but we think ourselves to have a good day or a bad day, or you don't talk to me until I have a coffee kind of situation. But yeah, a lot of people are like, just don't talk to me until I have a coffee because I'm grumpy. Well, it's only because you program yourself that way. But if I gave you a magic pill every morning that said happiness without coffee pill, and if you took it, you'd be happier than you ever felt before, and you took it, your mind would begin to believe that that was the case. So your mind and your thought process controls everything. And if you can change it or influence it, then you can achieve whatever it is you're setting out to achieve for that particular day. And I do believe in that. One thing I've learned is everything's only temporary. So if you're feeling sad or you're not feeling very good about yourself, it's only temporary until you change that thought with something else. And then that's only temporary as well.
Right.
So you have to have this coping mechanism for the things that don't go well in your life and embrace the things that do.
So I absolutely agree with what you're saying, but I am definitely a person who the first 6 minutes of every morning, if you talk to me, I might stab you in the eye with a fork. Like I'm not a morning person, but I am a morning person after that first hurdle. So, I understand the idea of whatever we think we can accomplish and we can kind of see it into existence or feel it into existence, believe it. But how do we change that mindset? How do we even start to mold our minds into being what we want it to be?
One of the techniques that I use is imprinting. It's imprinting positive suggestions into your life on a regular basis. As human beings, we understand the power of repetition. We're very repetitive people, which is why, if your father or somebody else's father or some grandfather did a certain thing and committed certain crimes, it kind of gets hand-me-down. We're creatures of habit. So you have to break a habit and break a cycle. And to do that, you must change. Mm-hmm. And to affect the change, one of the starting blocks is giving yourself permission to change and then giving yourself positive affirmations for whatever that change is. So, for example, if you want to lose a bit of weight out there and gain confidence, visualize yourself with that weight loss and that confidence. Just start by creating in your mind an image of yourself at the optimum weight or the optimum level of confidence. So you do have to write this down and have some form of strategy, and then you have to stick to it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because I can visualize all day long, but if I'm not a visual learner or if I have a lot of daydreams about what life could be like, but am not able to action it. So you recommend writing down positive affirmations or kind of the person you want to become?
Yeah, so there's three different ways that I do it with my clients, and one way is I get them to write down the perfect you. In other words, give me an image of who you are and what you want to be in the future. Because the thing that affects change is some point in the future you're visualizing yourself to be successful or whatever that might be, but write that down. And then small bite-sized chunks we create, goals to achieve. Because the problem is, the subconscious mind accepts that every time we win or we achieve success, we can then go to the next level. So, for example, take weight loss. If you want to lose weight, the best way to lose weight is start small. So if I tell you to go and exercise in the gym, chances are you'd fail. You wouldn't do it but if I ask you just to stand up and sit down, every 5 minutes, stand up and sit down, you're naturally going to lose weight. Now, if you can achieve that, I can take you to the next step.
Right.
So if you map it out to yourself, so you get out of bed and the first thing that you're going to say to yourself is 10 affirmations, and you've written those affirmations down, or you've recorded it onto, an MP3, and you just play that to yourself, that's a starting point. And eventually your mind believes it and it just becomes autopilot.
So it sounds like a lot of this is really just creating the correct habits.
Yeah, and the thing is, the habits and behaviors, as you guys might know, they lie in the subconscious mind. Your habits and behaviors, belief systems are all in your subconscious mind. And the way to access the subconscious mind is to get the mind to believe that what you're saying is true. Mm-hmm. Well, how do you do that? Through the power of repetition. It takes a bit of time, repetitive behavior. So
how do I then break the bad habits that are maybe blocking me from getting to where I really want to be?
Yeah, I would say go and see a hypnotist like me. I mean, that's the fastest way. Go and see somebody that knows how to access the subconscious mind, because I can teach you how to access your own subconscious mind, but first of all, you have to experience it. Right. I have to take you on that journey of self-hypnosis, and in order to take you there, what I do is I demonstrate it, I take you there, I record it, and then you have the audio of how to get there. Okay,
so it's the people watching this video are actually given a 15-minute audio as well, so they get to, it's an audio of like, okay, walk down the steps into the subconscious and take deep breaths and all of that. So yeah. They're kind of given a version of that, and I imagine it's different for everyone. But I definitely have that problem of like, if I don't have coffee in the morning, I see a huge difference in my personality or in my behaviors or in my ability to tackle the day. And maybe it's because I don't want to change that habit that I'm unable to break it.
I think the best thing to do with that, because obviously caffeine is not a mood enhancer. In fact, it's the opposite. It's not a mood enhancer because actually it's a depressant. It's got caffeine in it. So it's just your mind playing a trick on you, and our minds play tricks on us every single day. But I could take you through steps that if you substituted the coffee, so for example, if everything I'm about to say to you becomes truth and you nod your head and you understand and agree that this can help you, if indeed you want help. See, some people just don't want help, but if you did, then the first step would be, okay, you take a cup of coffee, let me know what size it is, and now let's cut that size in half. Mm-hmm. And then let's get to the point where actually you're only having a third. Then let's get to the point that it's every other day. So you might feel crap one day, good the other day, crap the other day. But then let's get to the point where you almost don't need it anymore. So everything is in small steps. Because every time the mind says, yes, I achieved that, then you can go to the next level, which is, when we're talking about confidence building and how to be suave and how to use, suggestive language in your life to improve yourselves, it all has to start with just a framework and stepping stones. Otherwise, you're going to go out there and fluff it all up.
Right. Yeah. I love that. So I everything you're saying makes absolute perfect sense to me. And I'm really excited to have you back next week because I want to talk a little bit about using that correct language and the correct body frame and things like that and communicating with other people that you are a suave person. So thank you so much for being here today. This has been a lot of fun.
You're welcome.
And you guys, I'll see you again very soon.